for me, I freaking regret my decision there at the end. I should have gone for it, fourth down, and told the team that I should have gone for it. So.
And here we go, and that is the decision we're going to just start with. Ryan, Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazawey, Fletch, JB in the house. Guys, this was the worst Lions game I have seen, the worst I have felt about a Lions loss since the 2016 playoff game where the Detroit Lions lost to the Dallas Cowboys, and what many people believe was a missed pass interference penalty by the officials.
Right.
It was.
As the reason why they lost. I'll tell you, Braylon.
Not the interceptions or the fumbles.
I was sick to my stomach about this. It affected my day. They had the game won, and Dan Campbell, the gambling man, as he is affectionately known, he somehow, some way decided to pick the worst option you could possibly pick. If I know, sitting at home, that you either go for it.
The couch coach.
Couch coach.
Okay, couch coach.
You either go for it or you punt. Try to get him inside the 10. How doesn't he know that? How do you end up deciding to kick the field goal, which, by the way, would have been a career long for Austin Seibert, or Seibert, however you say his name.
He missed, so it doesn't matter.
And even if he makes it, a touchdown still beats you. It was flat-out malfeasance, incompetence by Dan Campbell. And what compounds it, Braylon, is that, my goodness, there was a timeout called, so he had time to think about it.
Right.
Just disgusts me.
This is where I'm at with it. I start here by saying, on the positive side of things, I'm happy that the Detroit Lions are scoring points. Like, one of the biggest things the Detroit Lions haven't done in their tenure, I'm talking about since I was a kid, is they didn't score in the first half. Like, every game, as in this one too, it's another exciting Detroit Lions loss, but at least they're scoring points in the first half. I just had to get that out before I forgot. Now, with that being said, you have to learn how to win in this league. The teams that are winning in this league, the teams that win, their consistency. Yeah, can you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
We can get it closer to mouth. I think maybe that's. Sorry. Maybe it's my earpiece.
Hello. Now I got to talk this close?
Yeah, sorry, dude.
It's like my lips are almost on the mic now.
Yeah.
Pause. You got to learn how to win in this league. You look at the teams that win consistently, it's because they keep the same offenses in place. They keep the same players in place to a certain extent. They keep the identity and integrity. Dan Campbell's team, they're learning how to win. Obviously, they gave the game away at the end. But they're in the space of learning how to win. Dan Campbell told us a year ago, before the season started, before he ever coached his first NFL game as a Detroit Lions head coach, what did he tell us? He said this is going to be a 3-year process. A 3-year process until winning. Now we watch Hard Knocks. You saw the draft, and everybody gets excited. They're thinking above the pace. It's like, oh well, it's here. We actually can win this year. We can be a 10-win team. You still got to learn how to win. You got to learn how to close games out. You got to learn how to finish games out. You got to have the right amount of trust in your quarterback, in your defense, etc. They're a team that is getting better. But Maz said it perfectly before we even got on the air. He said it was interesting to watch this game because it's the same old Lions, but it's not. And I give Maz all the credit. He said that, and that's exactly how I felt watching the game back. It's like, it's not the same Lions, but at the end, they're still losing. The Lions have been losing close games for 15, 20, 30 years. That's nothing new, them losing close games. But they're in games. They're scoring in the first half. So I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying it takes time to learn how to win in this league. And Dan Campbell said 3 years, and we're in year 2.
My problem, Tom Mazawey, is that the Lions did figure out how to win that game. It was the coach that blew it for them. You cannot have your coach blow a game for you like that. And the coach, in my opinion, blew that game.
Nah, he didn't really blow the game. It's just that's the icing on the cake. There are a lot of things that they could have done differently. How about on the fourth down prior to that? It was 4th and 2 inside the 50-yard line. Jamal Williams is in there because our other guy can't stay healthy. Doesn't matter what the hell it is. He just can't stay healthy. And that sucks. That depressed me to begin with. But Jamal Williams is in there. He's a straight-ahead bulldog runner. He's a goal line guy. And you're running this guy, and the whole right side of the field was open. All he needed was 1 yard, 1.5 yards. And instead of taking it outside, and he had it, he took it right into the Viking defender like he was going to push two guys down. Bulldozing. Not even close. I want you to look at that play again. Go back and look at that damn play again. That's the game, because they drive there, they get a field goal there, and they break the Vikings back. That was before the Vikings were even close. They were still stuck 10 points at that time.
Yeah, but
to me, that one hurt them. And then at the end, when the Vikings were driving down the field, I forgot how much time was left. Just under a minute.
Minute 14 to go when they got the ball back, I believe.
He called the timeout as the Vikings were driving. Instead of just letting them, they were going to spike the ball. They were going to stop the clock. And he called the timeout like he did against freaking Baltimore last year. To me, that was worse than going for the field goal. Giving Minnesota all that extra time, and then, of course, the blown coverage. That's not the coach's fault, the blown coverage.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know what Jamal Williams, you know what type of runner you have in that guy. Jamal Hills, I mean, you just called it. Jamal Williams is a guy that's going to put his foot in the ground. He's going to head it up in there. He's a physical runner. He's a hard runner. He's not the guy that's going to go to the outside and see more there and, you know, like the vision of a DeAndre Swift or the vision of an elite running back. You know, it is a fall off from DeAndre Swift to Jamal Williams.
Big time.
Although he runs hard, I mean, he's not DeAndre Swift, no matter how you slice the dice. The other thing for me, the big thing is, it's the second half, and especially the fourth quarter, giving up points. Like, that's something you cannot do. If you look at the Philadelphia Eagles game, I mean, they gave up 14 in that game. You look at the Commanders last week, they gave up 27 in the second half to the Commanders. And then you look at this one, once again, here's the Minnesota Vikings scoring 14 in the fourth to win that game. So they got to shore up their second half, especially their fourth quarter defense. You got to want to win. Like, being ahead in the game and just hoping you hang on to a lead is not winning. Like, being behind, but being behind by so much against, like, the Philadelphia Eagles, where you're like, all right, well, we'll try to come back. Yeah, you're scoring points in the fourth quarter, but you're not scoring points when they matter. You're not believing that you can win this game. Just like we talked about on Friday, talked about expecting to win, going to Minnesota, knowing that they're struggling and expecting to win. The reason why they came back and that game got away from them is because they weren't expecting to win. And when you expect to win, you coach different and you play different.
There's no way they lose that game. That game was the Lions' game. There's no possible way they could have lost that game.
Except for how it happened.
Yet they did.
And
that break, and I'm with you, that really broke me, and it ruined my day. I was coming home from Chicago, stopping at Grand Valley to see my daughter Abby, and I got the phone, and it's crystal clear in front of me. It was just like watching TV, watching it on the phone. And I could not believe what I was watching. I could not believe it.
I didn't watch one play of football after that game. It sickened me, that game, because that was the definition of same old Lions. Yeah. And it's real hard when you think things are different. It's real hard to tell somebody that it's not. Because you see that game yesterday, and they literally won the game. It was never in doubt. Never. A 10-point lead with under 8 minutes to go. In the 4th and 8, it's over, right? I mean, the Lions just have to get one first down. And that was after they were bailed out by not getting a 4th and 1. So you don't get a 4th and 1. Your defense steps up, gets off the field, and your offense then just has to get one first down, and you go penalty, incomplete pass, but penalty. And then Jamal Williams, -4. Jamal Williams, no gain. Jamal Williams, 10 yards on 3rd and 14 to set up the 4th and 4. But it was the definition of how not to win a game.
Listen, playing to not lose, Ryan, is not the same as playing to win. It just is not. In the AFC Championship in 2009 season, it was the Jets versus the Indianapolis Colts. We are going into the locker room like we're legitimately up right now. We're up 10 points. We're like, cool, we're up 10 points. We get the ball back. We get a turnover in our area, Ryan. We get on the 38. But you know what the coaches did? They played for a field goal because they didn't want to be aggressive. They liked the fact that we were up up 10. Say, you know what? We'll get a field goal. We'll be up 13, and we get the ball at the end of the half because we're not playing to win, Ryan and Monty. We're just playing not to lose. And guess what happens? Jay Feely, our good friend, misses the field goal. Peyton Manning goes down the field 33 seconds. In the span of about 40 seconds, we go from potentially being up 17 at the half, at least 13 at the half. Now we're at the half. We're only up 3 points. Morale was terrible in the locker room. It's the same thing with the Detroit Lions. They were playing for the field goal. They were playing not to lose. Hey, you know what? We'll just run up the middle. We don't want Jared Goff to throw an interception. We don't want somebody to, one of the receivers to fumble, because that did happen a couple times yesterday. We'll just play for a field goal. We'll play not to lose this game. And what happened? They lost. You can't play not to lose. You got to play to win.
You mentioned morale. I want to talk to you about that exact thing. What did this loss do to the Lions moving forward? Also, a couple of key injuries to the Lions. Some players going to be out for some significant time. At least one of them is, and the other will miss time. We'll have that for you next. But first, a message from Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac. It is no secret that new cars are hard to come by, but they are available at Les Stanford. Got to make a plan, though. Allocation coming in for lease or purchase of new vehicles. Les Stanford has also over 300 pre-owned cars on their lot right now. All makes, all models, all years. Some with less than 5,000 miles. So they're like new. Come on down today, practically giving them away at Les Stanford Chevrolet and Cadillac. For more, visit lesstanford.com. lesstanford.com. Find new roads.
Find them.
Find them.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader bet tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
Make sure you're listening to Woodward Sports all day long. Start your morning with the Morning Woodward Show. Spend middays with Big D Energy. Watch and listen your drive home with the Bottom Line. And don't forget about Woodward Bets Daily. All live, all right here on the Woodward Sports Network.
At Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment's got everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, Alta Rental has you covered. Call them today at 844-GO-2-ALTA. That's the number 2, by the way. That's 844-GO-2-ALTA.
Lions blow one against the Minnesota Vikings. Dan Campbell, well, after the game, says we got to learn from it. No stinking crap. Here it is.
Listen, don't get frazzled by it. Now, I told him it should sting. It shouldn't taste good. I mean, because we had that, and I just told him we got to learn from it, man. We got to learn from the plays that bit us in the ass, and that there's going to be, as you know, I mean, you guys got a job to do, but there'll be a lot of criticism placed on a number of guys, myself and including the players, and which is natural. They all know it, and but man, you can't go on the downs and ups. Last week it was really good. This week, just stay true to what it is and learn from our mistakes, and just we got to go back to work Wednesday.
All right, let me just set this up first and foremost, because I want to have a conversation about morale for a minute here. We always talk about the Don Canham, don't let one game beat you twice. Yeah. Don't let one bad day of news make 2 bad days of news.
Yeah, like you keep it going.
Yeah. How big of a blow is a game like this to the morale of the players, especially on top? Fletch, help me out here with the news today. DeAndre Swift is most likely going to miss some time. DeAndre Swift suffered a shoulder sprain in Sunday's game. This from Tom Pelissero. It is expected that he will not require surgery, but he is expected to miss some time. Right. Again, regardless of the guy's not out there trying to get hurt, but he's never available.
Never.
Also, Tracy Walker. News today, Tracy Walker on his Twitter page. I appreciate the support from my fans and friends. It is true that I tore my Achilles and I'm done for the season, but I'll bounce back and be better than ever the following years to come. So
how many Achilles get blown out for the Lions?
Walker out, DeAndre Swift most likely out, and then couple that with the loss at Minnesota that you just handed them. Said, no, I don't want this W. I want you to have it.
You take it.
You take it. What does that do for morale? How doesn't that beat you twice?
I don't know how it doesn't. It's one of those things where talking about the Detroit Lions going into the season, everybody's excited talking about this guy and that guy and what they're going to do and Dan Campbell and they're better and the identity and the formation and they're on the same page and I believe they can do this. You still got to show people that you can do those things. You got to show me. I talked about the defensive players. One thing I wanted, Ryan Ermanni, on this team, I wanted some of those free agent defensive players. I get it. You talk about, the money, and we don't want to have so much money held up in this player when we're trying to build around young guys and through the draft. Obviously, they're waiting for the draft to get these defensive players. There were guys out there that can make plays. Like, you mean to tell me you looked at the MLB you looked at the Mike linebacker position, and you told yourself that Anzalone was the best you could do with free agency? You mean to tell me that you didn't look at a guy like Miles Jack, who only has 38 tackles through 3 games so far with the Pittsburgh Steelers? You didn't look at something like that? You look at safety play. Tracy Walker's pretty good through a couple games. You didn't look at Tyrann Mathieu, a little older. But you see, he didn't cost that much money to the New Orleans Saints. He didn't cost a boatload of money. I think he was $9 million or so. So you got to put people around young players to teach them how to win, to teach them how to be the professional, to teach them how to do little things that you as a coach, you can't necessarily connect to them on or get their ear or have them, or you show them how to do it on the field. You got to have older guys, veteran guys that know how to win, guys that have been in winning situations, winning programs. You got to have that on your football team. And right now, Ryan, they do not have that on their football team.
I get that end of it, but it's not like they gave up 44 points to the Minnesota Vikings. That defense, for the most part, played really well. And again, I think Aaron Glenn deserves a little bit of criticism after for the miscommunication. I always think that communication problems are on coaches and not so much on players. I always have said that. I've been consistent on that. How there was a miscommunication with a minute to go in that game where that player was able to forget the guy's name that caught the touchdown. Was able to just go so KJ Osborne. It was so far free. Nobody covered him. Between Oruwariye and Hughes. When you got a backup in there, that's a communication problem. I put that on the coach as well. They essentially gave up 21 points to a very potent Minnesota Vikings offense. You got to win that game. And again, the coaches, Dan Campbell specifically, blew it. And I'll say this too about the Campbell. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, and I understand, you're right. There is there was a miscommunication there by the coaches, miscommunication there by the players. But at the same time, when you have veteran players, right, when you got guys that have been there before, those plays don't happen in those moments of the game. They don't happen when you're in the fourth quarter and you're trying to keep them out of the end zone so that you can keep the lead, so that you can win this game and put another W in the winning column. Those moments don't happen when you have players in there. Like, I understand you want to build through the draft, you want the young guys, but plays like that don't happen when you have a Tyrann Mathieu, when you have a Quandre Diggs, when you have a Bobby Wagner, when you have a Miles Jack who's even playing some pretty good ball for the Steelers. These are guys that I wanted them to look at, and there are other players as well that you could have afforded, but you chose not to address the defense. Now, they have been playing decent ball. They gave up 38 points against Philly. I understand Philly's this all unbeatable team. They gave up 38 to Philly. They gave up 27 points in the second half to the Washington Commanders, who we know are not a good football team. And then this week, you let the Minnesota Vikings score 14 in that fourth quarter. They got to do something about that. The way they finish games from a defensive standpoint, you got to do something.
Look, this team, we all know, we had a loss penciled in. Like you always say, Vikings at home, that's a loss. So let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Now, here's the downside. The other side, if that was the upside. DeAndre Swift, if he stays in the game, It's a different team. Amon-Ra St. Brown playing on one leg. Who else got hurt? Number 8.
97 wasn't himself.
I know.
either.
I'm talking
Josh
receivers.
Reynolds.
Josh Reynolds was hurt.
That's another. That's another perfect example of a same old Lions play where Khalif Raymond and Josh Reynolds
It's friendly fire.
run into each other.
Friendly fire.
How do
Detroit
you run
Lions.
into each other? That's an easy pitch and catch in a first down. And that might have won the game for him, by the way.
He played for the Detroit Lions. Look, I get it, man. You're absolutely right, because Aiden Hutchinson not being his
They don't
full-
have the depth, man.
I understand 100%, and that's why throughout the season so far, I've kept this in mind. Look, I understand we're all excited about the Detroit Lions. Having them win their second game of the season and not game 13 in December felt really good. But there's still things that you got to show proof. Thing one, you don't win on the road. You got to show me that you can win on the road. They go to the Vikings. I understand they were up the whole game. What was the final result? They lost. Even with those guys that were injured and players were hurt and this player misses and that, they still were in position to win that game. They still were in position, and they lost. They're a team that gives up points in the fourth quarter. Has that changed? So with that being said, yes, they have some positives. I mean, they've scored the second most touchdowns in the NFL, only behind the Baltimore Ravens. There are positives that you could take for this game. But if we're going to be as positive as we were last week about the Washington Commanders, and we're going to be as positive as we were in the first week saying, hey, I mean, that was Philly. When they drop a deuce, we have to address it accordingly as well. Because if we don't hold them accountable, then what are we really doing?
Well, that's what I'm trying to do with the coach.
Yeah.
Because I do think those players, they're not the most talented roster in the NFL. They're just not. And I don't know if you stack their talent up against other teams in the NFL. I'm not sure where it comes. That's why your coach can't lose you games.
Yeah.
That's where your coach cannot drop one for you.
Well, do you like him going on fourth down a lot? Do you like that?
Every situation is different. Every situation is different. And I just think in that situation where you have a 54-yard field goal, the bad far outweighs the good. Again, even if he makes it, you're still
only up 6.
A touchdown beats you. Even if he makes it, a touchdown beats you. In this instance, a make is his career long. He can't. It's not his fault. He doesn't make anything north of 50.
Riley Patterson hasn't missed anything for the Jags, by the way.
It's not. I don't blame Seibert or Seibert, or however you say his name.
Neither is Christian Kirk.
To be honest with you, I don't blame Seibert. I blame the coach.
You took him out of his wheelhouse. That's not his wheelhouse.
He don't make anything north of 50.
He's supposed to be the long leg. That's why he made the team.
Well, he's only made a 53-yard field goal. That's his longest in his career. He missed from 54.
But he pushed it wide.
Again,
it's not like he's short.
And it's not automatic. So what I'm saying to you is
he's indoors.
For a kicker to be placed in that spot, the chance of a block in return for a touchdown, the chance for a miss, anything is worse than what happened there.
He should make that kick. He's an NFL kicker. It's only 20 yards more than a freaking extra point.
It's a 50-50 proposition, man.
This is not 1999. Kickers have been missing at an exponential rate ever since they moved the 2-point. The extra point back. The drop in kicks, missed field goals has been substantial in the last 8 years. You can't keep a kicker in this league. You only have 3 kickers in this league that I know to be automatic. You got Bucker, you got Tucker, Bucker, and freaking Boswell for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everybody else, every year, they got a different kicker or somebody else kicking. 54 is a lot. We had the same conversation with the Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks. That man had never made a field goal that far in his life. In fact, he was 1 of 8 for field goals over 50 yards, and Hackett decided to make that decision to go for a field goal, knowing those stats. Same thing here with Dan Campbell. Now, you want to talk about same old Lions, I got one for you. Same old Lions is Dan Campbell making the same bonehead decision. The decision on fourth down to not go for it or not punt it, same decision similar to what happened last year against Baltimore, what happened last year against Minnesota Vikings in terms of defenses falling at the end of games.
So when are you going to learn from it?
Yeah.
I mean, even the friggin' timeout, Maz, that you said.
That's the worst thing.
You talk about learning from mistakes. The same exact mistake, the same exact thing happened to you last year in the same week, by the way, week 3 against Baltimore.
It's today, by the way, the anniversary.
And you didn't learn anything from that. I'm not saying...
Is Dan Campbell too transparent and honest at the podium sometimes? Because it seems like I'm hearing this a lot of Dan Campbell in just his, 17 plus 3 is 20 games. I'm hearing this a lot. That's my fault. That's my bad. I should have done this. I shouldn't have done that. Is he too transparent?
Look. Were you trying to go somewhere with me, Maz, when you said, "Do I like him going on 4th down?"
Yeah, I am trying.
It's either
because
go
you
for it or punt.
You got to believe in him. He's going to make a mistake, but you got to believe in him.
I understand, Maz, but in the NFL, the margins are too thin.
Okay, listen to me. Let me just put it in black and white for you. You had 3 options: field goal, punt, or go for it. And any 3 could have missed, and you still would be pissed.
The chances, though, of the option that he picked of beating you were far outweighed anything.
No.
That he could have.
No,
yes.
It's not far.
Far outweighed anything
Maz,
he could have chosen.
The reason why I agree with Ryan Ermanni on this particular point, if he goes for it and doesn't get it, we all could came up here and rip him a new one for going for it on 4th and 4. When 4th and 4, we would have ripped him to shreds. The field goal miss, we're ripping him to shreds. The punt is the most liable option. Going back to the field goal, Cyber wasn't even necessarily going to make the team during training camp. It was which one of these kickers are better. He wasn't even the lock to be the field goal kicker, but you trust him on the road in Minnesota to make a 54-yarder. That's how I'm looking at it.
That he's trusting his defense to hold them out of the end zone. And they probably would have.
There was one player that might have had an opportunity to get Dan Campbell to do something different. We'll have that for you next. But first, a message from Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It is no secret that this place is one of the finest places to get your haircut. Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience. It is your last month to register to win the car of your dreams from Left Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. No appointment necessary. It's wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome.
It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risk, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
OddsTrader.com. Ryan Ermanni, it's the #1 site for your game day bets. It's play-by-play updates, live scores, and it's the best place to bet from multiple sportsbooks. Simply put any bet that you want to put in, or you can do it at OddsTrader.com. Aaron Judge, is he going to do it? Starting to look iffy that way, but if you want to bet that he will, why don't you go to OddsTrader.com. The Detroit Lions, will they be over those 6.5 games? I don't know. It's starting to look shaky. But go to OddsTrader.com. Any bet you want to make, multiple sportsbook, live updates, live game day updates. Go to OddsTrader.com.
Belief in each other and full execution there at the end of the game. All these games are going to be one score. Every single one of them we're in. For the most part, are going to be one score games. Even that Washington game got dicey there towards the end. Like, the NFL is so good, being in a position to win the game even once, get a couple first downs and the game's over is a gift, and you need to take advantage of it, and we didn't. And I own a lot of that, but we got 2 chances today to put it away, and we didn't.
Yeah, Jared Goff, there was a timeout called, Braylon. Jared Goff's got to go tell him, no, let's go for this too.
Yeah.
You got to take some ownership too and help your head coach out, because I hope there was nobody in that booth that said kick it. Timeout called. You're like, okay, guys, men, what should we do here? Kick it. Whoever said kick it should be out of here.
They should be fired.
Seriously. Yeah, timeout called. Okay, men, what do we do here? What does everybody think? Kick it. Whoever that guy is, get him out.
Where's John Harbaugh when you need him?
Kick it.
Well, you know where he's at. He's in a good place because his quarterback is the best player in the NFL, and it ain't even close. That's where John Harbaugh is mentally and physically.
Nice going there, Ravens.
Hey, man, I'm trying to tell you, they dropped the ball on that one, literally and figuratively. He accounts for 87% of the best offense in the NFL right now, and he has more touchdowns than any other team in the league, with the exception of the Detroit Lions. But getting back to the morale that is the Detroit Lions, look, I don't think it's going to be as down as people would think, and this is why. Last year they sucked. Okay, the Detroit Lions were not a good football team. They were in some games, but as a whole, they were not a good football team. They had to get players in the draft, had to bring some players in for free agency, but they believed in Dan Campbell all the way to the end of the season, Ryan and Monty. They were still fighting and clawing and scraping in December. In January, with the last game of the season against the Green Bay Packers, they were fighting. They believed in Dan Campbell all offseason. We saw that on full display during Hard Knocks. They believe in Dan Campbell still. They believe in this team still. Now, do they want to win? Yes. Are they pissed at him? Yes. Are they pissed at themselves? Yes, as well. But look at where they are through 3 games. They've had a chance to win all 3 of these games that they played. One is against the best team in the NFC, maybe in the NFL. One you did win against the Commanders, who have a pretty good offense in terms of Wentz, Gibson, McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, who finally didn't catch a pass.
They stink.
And the offense, those players are good, but yes, as a whole, they're not good. And then the Minnesota Vikings, the team that many people believe is number 2 team, or it could be the number 2 team in this division, or number 3 team. In the NFC. They go on the road, they're leading the game the whole time, and then they lose it in the end. So if you're looking at it from that point, as a Detroit Lion, you're mad as hell at yourself. But I don't believe, based on everything how it's played out from last year to this year, I don't believe their morale is down. Now, they're mad at themselves, much like, Amon-Ra St. Brown talked about it in game 1. He said, look, we could have put 50 on Philly. We're mad at that. So I think the morale is still there. But I tell you like this, and me and JB talked about this before the show today, that line between love you and hate you is this thin. And if they go out there against Seattle and they lose at home in Seattle, you're going to see that Kool-Aid stop getting drink. I hope not, but I'm just telling you, if it doesn't, this is a whole new team and a whole new mindset if they lose to Seattle this week.
I'm not overreacting, and this is only a hypothetical, okay? So these are not my words, but I'm giving you a hypothetical. Remember when we talked before the season started?
I know where you're going.
We were picking how many wins you think the Lions would have. And I think, Braylon, you said 6 wins.
Yep.
6 wins. And I said, at the time, if the Lions have 6 wins, I'll probably call for Dan Campbell to be fired.
Yeah. You did say that.
Blasphemous, right?
Yeah.
That is one of the most ridiculous things you could ever say. If they double their win total,
I know where you're going.
How do you fire this guy? Show me 7 or 8 more of games like that that are just completely mismanaged down the stretch, and tell me that's not going to be the case. Show me 7 or 8 more of these games completely mismanaged, and tell me that wouldn't be a viable thought, conversation, topic.
What did Hackett do in Denver?
Almost get fired.
He hired a game manager.
He's a head coach, and he hired a game manager.
That dude's over his head, and I'm not even sure that is a legitimate comparison.
I'm just telling you.
He was hired as a head coach to bring in Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
That's the only reason he got the job. Not based on anything other than the fact that Denver thought if we hired Nathaniel Hackett, we could get Aaron Rodgers.
The fact is this, Ryan and Monty and Mazin, you bring up a good point. And it's so funny. Now that I'm looking back at your comment, if they win 6, you show me 5 more games like yesterday. It doesn't even have to be 7, Ryan. 5 more games like yesterday. It's going to be very interesting because the world we live in today, everything is now. Everybody wants money now. They want to win now. They want kids now. They want success now. They want to skip processes. Dan Campbell told us it's going to take 3 years. If he has 5 more games like the one he had yesterday where you drop the ball and you just completely give the game away, he could get fired, and this is why. Brad Holmes isn't going anywhere because you like what he does through the draft. You like that he saves you money because you're a cheap organization. You love that about Brad Holmes. So Brad Holmes not going nowhere. But as it relates to Dan Campbell's already put the identity in place. Now maybe you make Ben Johnson the head coach, or maybe you bring in somebody else. But he's already put the attitude in place that is, toughness, grit, working hard together. They're like the unity that they have. Like, they're a good football team in terms of that. Shoot, a couple more of these, they might get rid of them because that's the world we live in.
I want to compare this to something that we all know this to be. When you're in a fantasy football draft, and it's on ESPN.com.
Don't bring up fantasy, man. You know my fantasy team sucks.
It doesn't suck, but we'll talk about that later. And it's your pick, and you got a minute to make your pick. And all of a sudden, it's like the 6th round, and the guy before you just grabbed something that you wanted. Now, here comes the clock. When it hits 10 seconds, Ryan, I know you don't do a lot of these, there's a loud clock that starts ticking. Beep, 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 beep. And you choke, and you take a freaking kicker or a defense with your pick. That's what happened yesterday. He screwed himself. Instead of probably listening to the people around him, because we don't even know who's calling the plays, right? Is it him or is it Ben Johnson?
I think it's Ben Johnson.
Okay, but we really don't know that because he's never said Ben Johnson's calling the plays. You got guys upstairs. You saw yesterday the Buffalo Bills OC, Ken Dorsey, go completely crazy.
That was fake.
You think?
That was fake.
Okay, we'll talk about that
Somebody made
later.
a good point about that on the show. Like, when you see him, like, tearing the stuff up, like, he doesn't even really tearing, like, stuff up. He was, like, ruffling his papers. It was like, Like, he was doing that. He threw his headphones on the table. Like, if you're really going to, like, get after it, if you're really going to tear some stuff up, he should have threw his papers at the guy next to him. He should have threw his headphones at the window. Like, he really should have got after it. It was all fake.
I digress.
I know him, by the way.
Back to Dan Campbell. I digress. He choked yesterday. That's it. Flat out.
Agreed.
He choked. Now, let's see what happens going forward. I don't think that happens again to him.
And again, hypothetically speaking, if he chokes 5, 6, or 7 more of those times, I think you got to start talking about it. I'm not saying that that's the case. I don't think the Lions' season is over. But what happened yesterday in Minneapolis is the difference from winning a division and having a home playoff game and not. Making the playoffs and not. These are all things that happened yesterday.
You know something else to add to that, though, man? See, this is, and I asked this question. I swear like it was yesterday. I asked this question when we were in March, I think right before the draft, or I think it was right before the draft. I said, are the Lions approaching too much popularity before they're ready for the spotlight? See, if Dan Campbell has these, if he chokes 2 years ago or 3 years ago or even last year, nobody cares because they expect the Lions to suck. See, now you got eyes on you. How many new eyes did you gain with the Detroit Lions? All these ESPN analysts loving Dan Campbell. They love the Detroit Lions. Everybody's watching the Detroit Lions now. Now when you choke, see, everybody's watching it. Before, it's like, it's Detroit Lions. But they're watching through a new lens. They believe you're something that you haven't necessarily proven yet, but they believe it all around the country. And you keep doing this on national TV when people are actually now watching, that adds another level of it too in terms of shoot. If I see this 4, 5, 6 more times, I'm like, we got to move ourselves away from this.
I do want to ask you a question. Is this different, or is this same old Lions? Like, officially, I want to ask that to you guys next. But first, a message from Chili Peppers Tanning.
All right. 27 locations and more on the way, too, right here on Woodward Avenue. And if you join the Pepper Club, they're going to save you $5 against any competitor on unlimited tanning. Plus, you get the cleanest salons in the D. The Chili Pepper girls are there to greet you, and it's the place to be. The hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, the darkest tans. Your vitamin D headquarters is chilipepperstanning.com.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Hi, I'm John from Better A Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
And I can feel it. I've been, 7 years now. I've been here, and we are right there. We are so close to being a really, really good team. But we just got to get over that hump. There's just, details that we have to eliminate, and we have to go out there, and I believe we do. We have to go out there, and we have to believe that. We have to believe that we are those guys.
Taylor Decker right there. How close are they to being a good team? I think they're a good team. I think it's different. I don't think their season is over. I think they can come back from this. The injuries are going to hurt, but every team deals with injuries. Hell, Harrison Smith didn't play yesterday, one of the best safeties in the game. Minnesota found a way to win it. Is this the same old Lions? Or why is this different if you think otherwise? Because I was literally sick to my stomach yesterday.
Yeah.
It affected my day so much.
It's still affecting you, by the way. I can feel it.
It does. Yeah. I have not gotten over this loss. And I don't bet. I didn't lose any money. There's nothing. It just affects me when the Lions, not when they lose, it's
how they lose.
How they lose and when they lose.
Yeah.
Early like this, because you're trying to extend the season. Be around, hang around, stick around. And it's just come on,
this
man.
would have made. I'm telling you right now, this would have made them a playoff team had they won that game yesterday.
Yeah,
I truly believe it would have made them a playoff team. Because now you got Seattle, and then you have the banged up Patriots. You can have 4 wins.
What did I tell you?
Yeah,
4-1 at the break. I told you.
2-3 is what I
now
told you.
Now they're 2-3 probably.
Listen, this is what I would say about this. Yes,
maybe 1-4.
Yes, same old. Yeah, why are you playing? Yes, same old Lions for me, with the caveat. When I say same old Lions, DeAndre Swift is always hurt. What's happening this season? We talk about same old Lions. You talk about winning on the road. Can you win on the road? Apparently not. Talk about same old Lions. Fourth quarters. Struggling, giving up points, losing in moments where you have games won, second guessing yourself, having coaching breakdowns. Well, they did that last year, and then that's what they did this past Sunday. Now, with that being said, like Matt said, it is somewhat different, and maybe it's different to the tune. Maybe when you get better players, the fullness of Dan Campbell's plan can work. Maybe when Jamison Williams gets on the field and he changed it, because DJ Chark, I see why Jacksonville said, yeah, we'll take Christian Kirk.
Fairly decent game, though, yesterday. Fairly decent, except there were a couple of plays. I mean, he did get involved early. Yeah. I was going to give you some love for that one because you did. Yeah. They went to him early and often in that game.
Yeah, he's sitting in the zone. So
still sucks.
100%. I mean, anybody can catch a wide open pass in the zone. But until Jamison Williams comes and he takes the top off and adds that new level, kind of like all you see the other teams that have success, then you get that level. Then maybe in this draft coming up, you draft another linebacker, or you draft a linebacker and a safety as well as a D tackle. I wouldn't mind if they spent the first 3 picks on defensive players, if you're asking me. Once you get then maybe you bring in some free agent players in the offseason. Maybe you bring in one of those Super Bowl winning players on defense or et cetera. Now you add that to the identity that he's creating. I think the identity is intact. I think they're different from that standpoint. They'll fight hard, but they're not showing me anything different that they haven't done before. Like you could say the Philly game, they scored 35 in the pinch against 49ers last year in game 1. They did that at the end. So until they fully show me something different, because even the Washington game last week, yes, they controlled that game the whole game. They never were in jeopardy of losing. But Washington scored 27 points in that second half and had a chance to beat the Detroit Lions at one point in that game. You got to change completely for me to say it's not the SOL.
You know why they didn't win that game? because DeAndre Swift was in that game, and he made a play. And he would have made a play yesterday, and they would not have lost.
If he wasn't what? Hurt.
Fragile.
Exactly. But that goes back to the same old thing. Like, I love DeAndre Swift. I love his attitude. He takes it on the chin. Like, he's quiet. He's determined. I love all of that. But he can't stay on the field. And that's not his fault to a certain extent, because you see he works out hard. You see he works out hard. Some people just, they're cursed with getting hurt or getting injured. But that's still the same old thing that's been the case for the last 2 years, and now this being the third year of his tenure. It's not his fault, but it's happening consistently.
Yeah. Suppressing.
It is.
It really is.
Because you have the talent there.
Yeah.
And Amon-Ra St. Brown wanted to go in the worst way, and he was really hurt.
Well,
playing on one freaking leg.
Look, Amon-Ra St. Brown is, and I hate to use coach speak here, but it was a great analogy. He's a pit bull that plays wide receiver. I mean, that is him. The way he just didn't have it yesterday. He was out there on one leg, and Hutch didn't have it either. 97 didn't do a thing in that game. Not one friggin' thing. And if you're hurt, is an injured or hurt 97 better than the backup that they got?
Yeah.
And I guess that's what goes back to depth, right? I mean, that's why you have to win that game, because you win that game and you can weather a week or two of a loss, or maybe even where you lose 2 in a row. Because you just can't give games away in the National Football League. Amani Oruwariye. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, that was a game like that yesterday, Ryan, Ermanni, and Mazawey, you talk about it. See, if they win that game, that buys them 6 weeks.
Yes.
Like, they win yesterday against Minnesota Vikings.
Yes.
That buys them 6 weeks. We're not on here dogging them for 6 weeks. We're letting things go. Even if they lose to Seattle, like, oh, well, you know what, they beat Minnesota, things happen, blah, blah. Like, they would have had excuses, or they would have had a window of 6 weeks where they could have been average, or they could have been whatever, and we would have given them a pass. But you lose that game, and now we're sitting here having questions like, man, what happens if they lose to Seattle? What does that mean for Dan Campbell? What does that mean for the ideology behind, he said it's a 3-year process. Does he have 3 years though? It's a whole different conversation.
Amani Oruwariye had 6 penalties in this game.
The refs ran out of flags, by the way.
I've never seen anything like it.
Could have had another one.
One player.
He tackled Thielen and they let him get away with it.
Unbelievable. Here's his thoughts on that.
I mean, once they knew we were taking 18 out, and the first one, the legal contact, even Thielen came up to me and was like, come on. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't a flag. But a couple of those, was questionable. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's flags. I got to just clean up, the little things like that and be better.
We talked about this on Friday, Ryan. And what we talked about, you asked if Jeff Okudah, who matches up on Justin Jefferson, how they do it. I say, they'll probably match Jeff Okudah up when they're in man-to-man, and then if they're not, they'll do a little double coverage situation. I said, but the thing is, it's hard to just implement yourself into a season when you didn't play in the preseason, when you didn't play in the first 2 games. You got to get in that gaming rhythm. And all these penalties, all they show me is he's not in game rhythm yet.
You mentioned Jeff Okudah, show you how good he's been this season. We'll do that next, but first, a message from Cintron.
Cintron is the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings, and now for a limited time, they have put together all 3 of their flavors in a limited edition 6-pack: the cranberry, the sugar-free, and the classic. Go to CintronWorld.com/Red Wings. They are joining the community. They're trying to get us re-energized, bring back the city of Detroit professional sports. Well, guess what? Let them help you get energized as well.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
One of the guys that has been lights out this year has been Jeff Okudah. I want to put up some numbers from Okudah in this one. Jeff Okudah versus Justin Jefferson. Look, if you would have said that Okudah held Jefferson to 2 catches, 9 yards, you would have told me I was crazy.
Yeah. I would have told you won.
I would have told you you won the game, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This guy, Jeff Okudah, there's not enough really good. Young player, not enough nice things to say about this guy. I'm so happy for him and so happy for the Detroit Lions because on the other side, Oruwariye looks like a disaster.
Did you see him knock him on his butt?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
He's physical, man.
Definitely happy about Jeff Okudah. You know, they throw the term around bust a lot. Like individuals, analysts, pundits, everybody wants to use the word bust. They're so excited to throw the word out there, and I just hate it. So seeing a young guy that was going through this situation, a lot of times it's about situations and where you get drafted and who's there and who's coaching and what teams you're playing on that determine that way, not to mention also injury. So to see the way he's fought to get back, and we talked about his pedigree, we talked about where he's from, talked about what ethnicity is. Nigerians, man, they're different people, man, and he's just so strong, so mentally dialed in to be able to come like this. He's showing you that he is the real deal. And don't forget, when Jeff Okudah came out 3 years ago, Jeff Okudah had the highest grade of any DB in that draft. So this wasn't just the Detroit Lions and Quentin Trisha. They noticed that, oh, you know what, we'll take this guy because he went to Ohio State. He was the highest graded defensive back in that 2020 draft. So, I mean, you're seeing it now on display. I couldn't be happier for him.
How will the Lions respond this week? I think that's a big question, and I'm not sure this taste gets out of my mouth until I see what they do this week, most likely without DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, he ain't playing.
Definitely without a Tracy Walker. Who knows how healthy Aiden Hutchinson is? Who knows how healthy Amon-Ra St. Brown is? What will this Detroit Lions team look like on Sunday against the Seahawks?
They're favored by 6.5.
One of the worst teams in the NFL. And
no, they play tough.
Seattle?
Hell yeah.
Well, they're one of the worst teams in the NFL.
No, they're not.
Who would you consider on that list?
Worst teams?
One of the worst teams in the NFL. Who is your top 5 teams? Worst teams.
Let me look at the teams and pick them, okay?
Okay.
I'll go through them right now.
Did you see Seattle week 2 against the 49ers?
Yeah, they didn't get bombed. Jets, they're worse. Carolina, I think, is worse, although they won. It looks like the Saints aren't very good. Texans are tough, but they don't play very well. Washington is the worst team in the league. There's your sure bet. You said the Titans, but they beat the Raiders, who are 0-3. The Chargers, they scored 10 points at home yesterday with a banged-up quarterback, and now their left tackle is out for the year.
Everybody you just named, I'm taking over the Seattle Seahawks. Okay. I take everybody you just named over the Seahawks, except maybe Houston and Davis.
Can they have an easy one is what I'm saying? Can you go out there?
There ain't no such thing anymore.
Respond.
Do you see the spreads of these games? There's no more 14, 17-point games. These are all, you heard Jared Goff. You're playing a one-possession game against everyone. The NFL did it again. They got you. Kansas City, they got you.
I told you after week 2. It was week 1. They went out there and they were, 35-7 is what they won by, and everybody was like, all good. I said, I still saw some plays in there where it's like they didn't look comfortable throwing the ball. Then you watch the week 2. Like they barely survived the Buffalo Bills. But you could see that they missed the cheetah and Tyreek Hill. See, and I said it. I was like, Andy Reid's never won a Super Bowl without Tyreek Hill. Patrick Mahomes doesn't know what it's like to play like without Tyreek Hill. Tyreek is a once-in-a-lifetime type player. Like it doesn't matter what down it is, what quarter it is. Like when you got a guy like Tyreek Hill, you are always in the game. When you don't have him, now you got Travis Kelce's getting double coverage more. Like those young guys are trying to figure it out. Patrick Mahomes, man, that Chiefs.
I'm just saying. He asked what the worst team was last week. Who was the worst team? The Colts. They suck. They beat the Chiefs.
8 of the 14 games played yesterday were within 4 points. That is why, again, your coach makes all the difference. In a one-possession game like that, you can't have your coach beat you. You are deficient enough in so many different areas. And Dan Campbell was out there earlier today saying he regrets the call. And you know what? kudos to you, ownership. I'm not going to sit here and call for the firing of Dan Campbell because he blew the game yesterday. But what I will say,
I can't keep hearing it though.
What I will say is, fool me once, shame on me.
No, you.
You. Fool you once,
You
shame on
can't get fooled 4, 5, and 6 times.
All right, GW.
Okay, you can't get fooled.
You got to
again.
throw that phrase out until we get it right.
You cannot get fooled again.
Yeah.
He apologized almost every time they lose. And again, you're just not talented enough to be blowing games like that.
Listen, when you're a bad kid, you get a lot of ass whoopings, okay? And you apologize for the things that you do all the time. Hey, you know what? Got caught doing this. Hey, Mom, I'm sorry. Hey, got caught doing. Hey, Dad, I'm sorry. Hey, eventually your parents begin to know that you're just a bad kid that says sorry because it sounds good. Mm-hmm. You say sorry because you know you got caught. You say sorry because you know you're in trouble, and this is what you should do. This is what you do to keep people off your butt. This is what you do to keep your parents. Maybe they won't whoop me if I say I'm sorry. Maybe my punishment won't be that long if I say I'm sorry. At some point, those apologies and those sorries start to mean less and less and less and less.
And honestly, when you look at this league, and we'll go around the league next, but the Indianapolis Colts beat the friggin' Chiefs. The Dolphins, they beat the Bills. Hell, the Jaguars won yesterday. This league is so close. Win the friggin' game. Don't just go to Minneapolis and give games away. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And now, again, look, last week, all 4 teams in the NFC North were 1-1. Now, 3 of the 4 teams in the NFC North are 2-1. There is one team sitting at the bottom that is 1-2, fighting from behind, and that is your beloved Detroit Lions. I don't even know what to say about it anymore, guys. It affected my day yesterday. I was yelling at my wife. I was yelling at my kids. I did not see one snap of football after the game. I turned the TV off, and I didn't turn it on. I went downstairs, got this Lego set, and I did Legos with my kid. And then I eventually turned the television on at about 9:30 and watched the replay of Bill Maher on HBO.
Anything to stay away from football.
Anything but football.
Yeah.
I couldn't see
You didn't miss
it.
anything on a Sunday night game.
I
It was
didn't want to
horrible.
see it.
The only thing is my team won. The one thing, and I keep saying this about the Detroit Lions, is look, you got to learn how to win games. Like, people say that, like, what do you mean you got to learn how to win games? Like, winning, knowing how to win is a skill. That's why some coaches stay in places a lot longer than other coaches. That's why some coaches make a lot more money than others. Knowing how to win is a skill. And right now, the Detroit Lions don't know how to win. It's as simple as that. You can say what you want to about all this stuff, the injuries, and, well, if DeAndre Swift, with DeAndre Swift still being hurt, they still had an opportunity and they should have won that game with him being hurt, with Aiden Hutchinson being hurt, with Amon-Ra St. Brown, with all of those injuries. They still had a chance to win, and Dan Campbell did not know how to win.
My wife asked me a very valid question, I thought. She said, why do you let it affect you so much? You know how it's going to turn out. And I tell her, but this is different. This year is different.
Right.
She continues
It's the definition of insanity.
to look at me and not understand how or why this affects me as great as it does. Maz, I know you were in the same boat. Braylon,
You can't feel us.
I don't, and I would never.
You can't.
I've never, like, growing up, I never was.
That's because you're a player.
Well, no, that's not necessarily true. It's because I didn't grow up tailgating with the Detroit Lions game. I didn't grow up even liking the Detroit Lions. And my father played for the Lions. I grew up a 49ers fan, but that team's so far away, plus they always won. Like, I never had these hang-ups. The only thing that ever could get me this way is Michigan on Saturday. But then I got to the point I got tired of I got used to Michigan losing, so it had no effect on me anymore. I get mad at times, but it doesn't affect my mood. Watching you guys and watching Lions fans, I feel so bad for you at times, man.
Nothing does.
I feel bad.
Nothing does me bad like the Lions do. They just. I live and die with this freaking team, and I didn't even grow up here. I'm here 30 years, but they were my third team. Thanksgiving, loved them. There's just something about them that I fell in love with.
Yeah.
And I just can't get it out. I can't get rid of it.
That's even more sick.
Look how much clothes I freaking. Look how much money I spent.
You didn't have to take them on as a team, but you
because
did
you're
it
stuck
anyway.
with the Giants.
I got the Giants, the Jets, and the freaking Lions.
Oh my God,
that's a lot of heart, man. It's funny because everybody feels the same way today. I went and got gas earlier. I went inside the gas station. The gas station attendant, he's a cool dude. We always talk. We always exchange pleasantries. Saw it in his face. You can see people at the light. I can hear people listening to the radio, and they weren't listening to music. They're listening to talk radio. Even coming in here, the energy is just not as it has been the past couple Mondays because it's like, oh man, did we get ahead of ourselves with the Detroit Lions?
No.
That's what I'm saying, but that's what everybody's thinking right now is did we get ahead of ourselves with the Detroit Lions?
All right, guys, I just want to go around the NFL as we open up hour number 2, and don't you think for 1 second that we are not going to take great privilege in speaking about the Michigan State Spartans this week.
Oh, man.
We'll do that. We will do that this hour. But first,
we were
message.
Foiled twice by teams from Minnesota. Foiled twice.
A message from Guardian Alarm. They're your local security experts, have been for over 90 friggin' years. You see that black and yellow sign out in front of the house?
Yes,
tells the bad guys one thing.
Stay out.
Whether you are at home or on the road, they're 24/7 local monitoring. Make sure what is important to you stays safe. Call that number right now, 1-800-STAY-OUT. That number again, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Call them today. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader bet tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Hey, it's Maz for Big Boy, and we want to thank our family and friends at Big Boy. They take great care of us.
Jim.
Frank and Heather, thank you very much. For a limited time only, got to get there because they got the all-new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. Check them out.
Loaded.
It's not the Slim Jim. The guys had it. It's the Big Jim. The chili cheeseburger. How about the bacon blue and upgrade those fries, the chili cheese fries, and how about baked potato fries, even a little nacho fries for you. Get out to Big Boy and satisfy those taste buds today at Big Boy.
I got another shake of the head from Fletch.
Oh yeah, you're on the wild.
Fletch is so great.
Big boys.
Fletch, JB, Jeremy Bryant over here, the great Tom Mazawey. I'm merely Ryan Ermanni alongside the
sweating
greatest wide receiver in the history of Michigan football, Braylon freaking Edwards.
It's so funny. I'll tell you off air.
Uh-oh. You can tell me on the air. What? Come on.
No, it's well, I love how everybody always uses somebody else to try to maybe say how good something is.
Yeah.
It's always a measuring stick.
Goat status.
Yeah, and before the season, it was a lot of comparisons from to me to other people.
That's flattering, though, isn't it? Or no, you don't like that?
If they compare you to somebody that's not nearly as good as you, then it's not flattering. It's you're just doing stuff for clickbait.
But they brought your name up.
It's like if we say that, I don't care that you bring my name, but if you're gonna bring my name up, it needs to be worth it. They always get a couple decent receivers, and it's like, oh man, this guy can be as good as Braylon Edwards. Man, shut up.
Hey, Brady, BQ is going to be in town this week.
He is.
Brady Quinn.
I like when he does the games though.
They'll be in Iowa.
He did the Minnesota. Well, I'll be there too.
Yeah.
But he did the Minnesota and Lions game.
He was very good on that broadcast.
Yeah, he's good.
He was very good.
Very entertaining.
Yeah.
Very.
And Brady's sharp. He's sharp. He's good. I like this your show, Big Noon Kickoff. You know what I like is because just watch his face when he does the show. But then when Matt Leinart says something, like they still have a rivalry going. Obviously, the infamous Bush push. Well, that was Matt Leinart versus Brady Quinn. But Brady's so dialed in and knows so much that like you'll see him shake his head at Matt Leinart. Matt Leinart doesn't know his match.
Speaking of Big Noon Kickoff, Urban Meyer is great on television.
He's great, period.
He is so good on television. I mean, that guy is
You see, Woodson gave him
fantastic.
some stuff, though.
Huh?
You see Charles?
Oh, he's always giving them the business. They got a good thing going there. Maz, I want to go around the NFL quickly. We don't have to go through every game.
I'll take care of business.
You got it. There you
All
go.
right, you don't
Hour
have to,
number
you don't
two
have
of
to
the program.
comment on everything.
WoodwardSports.com, everybody. WoodwardSports.com. Get inside the Woodward Sports chat. We'll see if we can read some comments later on in the show.
Yes,
Maz?
sir. Cincinnati went to the Meadowlands, beat the Jets 27-12. I like the Bengals yesterday. I made them my suicide pick. Ravens over the Patriots. Ravens 37-26. Lamar Jackson 5 touchdowns.
He sucks. He's not good.
He's not good. And Mac Jones looks like he's going to be out
Not
for
a QB number one.
quite a while. He's got a high ankle sprain with some tendon damage.
Never win.
I've said enough about Lamar Jackson. I just don't understand what the Baltimore Ravens were thinking. Yesterday's price is not going to be today's price. He's accounted for 87% of the best offense in the NFL. He has 12 touchdowns that he himself has accounted for. Either he's rushed or thrown for him. I mean, you're talking about somebody betting on himself, getting bigger in the offseason so he can take on the blunt. I've never seen an individual do every exact thing right and be punished by the team that the only team that wanted to take a chance on him, but now they're like stubbing their toe and they're dragging their feet. I tell you what, Baltimore, when he's wearing those Tampa Bay Buccaneers colors or those Detroit Lions colors, you're gonna realize you messed up.
Hell yeah. How about it now? Ravens are looking good, and they'll continue. Carolina has no offense, but they beat the Saints 22-14. Your man Jameis, man. He's got something going on with his back, but I just don't think he has it right.
No, he doesn't have it. And to me, the New Orleans Saints are one of the most disappointing teams this season out of the gate. One of the most disappointing.
Oh, yeah, I know, because I have their defense in fantasy. Shocking.
Hey, Bears got a late field goal thanks to Davis Mills throwing the ball away at the end of that game. They beat the Texans at Soldier Field 23-20. I was in Chicago yesterday.
Come on, Lovey.
And I was staying at one of the hotels downtown, and it was filled with Bear fans, and they were excited, and they make the long walk on over to Soldier Field and the spaceship that lands there, and I kept telling I wanted to go to that game, but Upper Deck was like $200
Get out of here.
to go to that
Stop
game,
it.
and they're going to be moving out of that place soon anyway. Colts, as I predicted, beat Kansas City 20-17, the sucker game of the week. Kansas City only favored by 5.5 in that game. What did I tell you?
Yeah. As a general rule of thumb, and I didn't believe you, I'm not going to lie to you. As a general rule of thumb, if you are getting 5.5 points, you take the 5.5 points. There were 2 5.5 point spreads this week. The Colts were getting 5.5, and the Lions were getting 5.5. Both teams covered.
Wow,
One of the teams
I didn't realize
won
that.
outright. Yeah. 5.5 is a magic number in gambling.
To take.
If you see 5.5, you take that.
All right, I'll
Just
remember
wait
that.
to see 5.5 to make a bet.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I'm telling you from experience.
Eagles beat Washington 24-8. Phillies 3-0. Dolphins are 3-0. Braylon 21-19. They beat the Bills, but what a game!
Everybody told me before the season. Everybody bought into the fact, Tua can't get the ball down the field. They purposely put out that video of Tua underthrowing Tyreek Hill in routes on air. Routes on air is not anything serious, not really trying to get the ball out there. It's just getting the wide receiver and the quarterback arms and legs loosened up. Everybody fell victim to a kiss. Prelude to a kiss. He doesn't have the arm. He can't get the ball down the field. How's he even going to get the ball to the cheetah? I said, he doesn't even have to get the ball to T. It's long handoffs, but he does have an arm because Jalen Waddle ran 4.3 when he was at Alabama last time I checked. But they're a real team, and they play good defense. That's where they're winning games is the defensive side of it.
You ready for this? Fletch, put up the Miami stat, the tweet about Miami. Look at this. They are 11-1 in their last 12 games. 11-1.
It's incredible. You know what else is an incredible stat? There are 2 3-0 teams in the NFL.
Same thing.
Quarterbacked by Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts.
Two number ones.
Two number ones, but two guys
That I told you
most
about.
people, not you,
That's
Braylon.
number ones on the jersey.
Yeah,
by the way.
Braylon's been right about both guys all along. And maybe one day people like you and I will listen to him. But he is the only one that said anything about Tua and Jalen. National guys, ESPN, Fox, CBS, nobody has given Tua and Jalen Hurts their just due, and those are the only two quarterbacks that are currently 3-0.
Dan Orlovsky is the only one. But here's another interesting stat about that game, Ryan, Ermanni, and Maz, the Minnesota game. The Miami Dolphins game. The Miami Dolphins had 90 plays of offense. The Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills had 90 plays of offense. 63 passes were attempted by the greatest quarterback ever, the guy that's supposed to win the MVP and win the Super Bowl, and Josh Allen. That defense was on the field for that offense of the Miami Dolphins was only on the field for 18 minutes. 42 minutes time of possession for the Buffalo Bills, and they couldn't get it done.
But the Bills played in that 110-degree humidity. They were getting IVs every other minute, and they're down. Micah Hyde's out for the year. They were down 5 defensive starters, and they hung in there. The Bills, they're still going to win the Super Bowl.
I still think they're the best team in the NFL.
Yep.
I still do. I'm still going with them. But kudos to Stephen Ross and the architectural design team of Hard Rock, because they know what they're doing. I've been there before. They put the opposing team with no shade. So it's hot all game long. The sun is beaming down all game long. You're sweating like hell. It's 110 with the heat index in Miami. Meanwhile, on the other side of the field, there's super shade for the Miami Dolphins. Kudos to the architectural design team for Hard Rock Stadium.
Last week's worst team, the Titans, they won 24-22 over the Raiders, the only winless team. The Vegas Raiders. Jags put 38 on the LA Chargers, 38-10. That snapped an 18-game road losing streak. 3 touchdowns for the hippie kid.
One thing we talked about, the big question was everything in NFL, all roads run through the AFC West. Oh, they got Russell Wilson now. Oh, man, they brought over Devontae Adams. This is going to be the division. Hell, they might get 4 teams into the playoffs. Oh, they're going to be rolling and smoking. One thing that I did say, just because you put a player on the team doesn't mean he's going to ultimately integrate. It didn't mean that Devontae Adams was going to go over there and have 1,500. It didn't mean Russell was going to go over there and have 4,400. It takes time. It takes chemistry. It takes patience. And we're seeing that maybe we were all a little bit too on the bandwagon that was the AFC West.
Atlanta beat Seattle by 4. Rams beat the Cards 20-12. Pack over the Bucks 14-12. Tampa scores late. They go for 2 to tie it. And guess what? They get a delay of game penalty. Tom Brady was changing the play, and Aaron Rodgers even said the play when they scored a touchdown should have been a delay of game.
Yeah.
How do you get a delay of game out of a timeout by the Packers? They come in and they do it. They get a delay of game.
Crazy.
And can't score from the 7.
That game was crazy hot too. Not quite as bad as Miami, but the game in Tampa.
Yep.
I mean, that was pretty unique.
And Denver 11. San Francisco 10, thanks to a Jimmy G safety. They lost the game on a safety.
It's incredible. I don't know how that happens.
He
as a
ran out of the
quarterback.
end zone like Danny O.
It technically was a pick 8. Because if you think about it, he got 2 for the safety. He threw an interception and went for a touchdown. He just so happened to be out of the end zone. Now, everybody, this is one of those plays where we'll talk about it. Dan Orlovsky extremely excited. Me, never been happy. Freedom, as he says in the words of William Wallace on Braveheart. He's vindicated. Not so fast. The way I look at it is this. Jimmy G, he stepped out. He got 1 foot out, and then 1 foot came down as he threw a horrible pass that got intercepted anyway. Dan Orlovsky ran out of the back of the end zone and kept running all the way damn near to the tunnel. So, although the same play, Dan was clearly worse.
The only thing that made my weekend better was the complete whipping that the Michigan State Spartans took. I took great joy in that. We'll have that for you next, but first the message from Gypsy Vodka.
The summer is over, but the mulligan is still here. Gypsy did an amazing job with the mulligan. 8% alcohol seltzer, and it is 8%, so be careful with it. But the flavors are amazing. The peach, the lemonade, the iced tea, the way the vodka hits is very smooth as well. Once again, it's 8%, so be careful. Adam and Mike, you got this right, man. Michigan State graduates, Adam and Mike. Butowski, Michigan. Support in-state distillers. Stop going elsewhere. Stay in the state and get the best drinks you can get. The Mulligan by Gypsy Vodka.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage. A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Welcome back, Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. Thanks for making us part of your day on this Monday. Kind of a crappy Monday, if you ask me, with the Lions' loss to Minnesota, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. But there was one thing that happened over the weekend that really, really made me feel good, and that was just a complete... I don't know what else you call it other than a total butt whipping. Michigan State, at the hands of Minnesota, at home, walloped. It was 34-0, and then the Spartans scored at the end of the game. Braylon, I thought Michigan State would be a 5-loss team this year. Are they a bowl team? Are they going to make a bowl? I didn't think they were as bad as they are, but this is a really, really bad football team.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of a year Michigan State had in 2017. I believe going into the season, they returned something like 22 starters off that team the year before, and everybody was excited about that year. Brian Lewerke was supposed to take that next step, and they were a disastrous team. I think they almost lost to Bowling Green that year, but we talked about it. The offensive line is not good. The secondary is not good. We talked about Minnesota when Ron Johnson was on here. We said Tanner Morgan. I gave you his stats on Friday. Tanner Morgan doesn't miss a lot of passes because all their passes are run off the run zone that they have with Muhammad Ibrahim, who, oh my God, is picking up where he left off 2 years or last year when he got injured. That team in Minnesota had no fear of Michigan State, and they showed you on the field. It's going to be an interesting situation. When you think about it from this point of view, Ryan Ermanni, now this is year 3 for Mel Tucker. If you want to eliminate the COVID year, you can. I won't. COVID year, he's 2-4. Last year, he's 11-3. But big games. The big games last year, who did he beat? He won the Michigan. Won the Michigan game. You can argue sack, fumble, touchdown. We don't want to get into that. They beat us. It is what it is. You lose to Purdue when you were in the lead, in the Big Ten, and controlling your own destiny. You got walloped by Ohio State. You can make excuses and say, well, Kenneth Walker didn't play. That's not it either. You've gone down. You just lost to Minnesota in blowout fashion. You lost to Washington on the road. What does Mel Tucker done to deserve $10 million? You asked that last year. I'm asking you this year. Is he in trouble of getting fired? Is he in trouble with his situation? I know they say they love him. But now, once again, they're another team that are now in the media, in the public eye of the media. People are watching them across the country. Tuck coming, et cetera, et cetera. Is he? What time is he going to get here? Because I've been waiting.
Maryland's a 7-point favorite against Michigan State this
7.5.
7.5-point favorite against Michigan State. They're going to go down to Maryland and lose. And they're going to be 2-3 on the year, most likely. Peyton Thorne, we all thought, correct me if I'm wrong, that he was one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten. Did we not?
I did.
Didn't we thought returning he would be one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten, like top 5, like top 3, 4
he fooled
guy
me.
in the Big
He
Ten?
fooled me.
Absolutely. But this is why I'll speak about my own team here. I think and thought and totally believe that Jim Harbaugh has to validate last season with another championship run.
Yeah.
You go to Ohio State, you lose a close game. I'm not going to be okay with it, but 11-1 to me at worst for Michigan. That is your validation season. To me, Mel Tucker, same thing. You have to come back this year and validate the fact that you weren't just a one-man team last year. Kenneth Walker III was so good that he got his coach a $10 million a year job.
You say that again.
You should give he should at least
should get
give
half.
at least a third.
Not to mention, Ryan, it allowed you to mask how bad that offensive line was. It allowed you to mask how bad that secondary was because you guys were scoring points in late in games as well with Kenneth Walker. Man, you look at that team. What did I say on Friday? I said Peyton Thorne is in jeopardy of getting yanked. And Lord have mercy, did Kim come in, have 6 of 7, and score a touchdown? You can call it garbage points, but they couldn't do that before he got in.
As best we can, as best I can, because I'm biased, obviously. We all know that. I'm asking a legit question here. Are we sure that Mel Tucker is that guy? And I mean that. Anybody can weigh in on this. Are we sure Mel Tucker is that guy that is going to be a championship winning coach at Michigan State? And I'm not only talking about Big Ten championships. I'm talking about getting to the playoff, maybe win a game, heaven forbid a national championship, because that's what you get paid $10 million for, right? You get paid $10 million to not win a conference championship twice every 10 years.
Yeah.
That's not why you get paid $10 million. You get paid $10 million because they think you got a real shot to win a national championship. I think your program's relevance skyrockets when you got a big name coach. To this day, I'm not sure that this LSU thing was ever a real possibility. So you were essentially negotiating against yourself. I don't think he ever got offered the job. If he did get actually hired for that job and just didn't take it, let me know where I'm wrong there. Feel free to send the newspaper copy. I don't believe that to be the case. Unlike Jim Harbaugh, that actually, it took Harbaugh 7 years, but I think you could call him a good coach because he did get to the Super Bowl. He did get to the NFC Championship game 3 years in a row. It wasn't exactly working out at Michigan because he couldn't beat Michigan State, couldn't beat Ohio State. But he did have a hell of a winning percentage nonetheless. Are we sure Mel Tucker is that guy?
The verdict is not out, and the only reason I'm not listening to you, I was looking for something from my own review. Here we go. No, the verdict isn't out yet, and I think we got to give him a little bit more time because if you look at it this way, he wasn't allowed to recruit when he first got there for the COVID year. He didn't recruit. So last year was his only recruiting cycle, and this would be his second one. So I do give him a pass there. But with that being said, I got to see more for $10 million. Like, you look at what Jim Harbaugh did. His first year, he won 10 games. Next year, he won 10 games, then 8 games, then 10 again. So, like, he wasn't winning the Big Ten championship, but he's playing in the hardest division in college football, and he's comparable to a certain extent. Shoot, he was, a terrible call from winning that Michigan State game his first year and winning 11 games, if you want to look at it that way. I mean, all he had to do was go and freaking max protect, but it's neither here nor there. But I give Mel Tucker a little bit more time because we gave Jim Harbaugh 7 years. I'll give him a little bit more time so that he can actually get his own recruiting class and not just transfer portal guys. Like, I'm talking about an actual recruiting class, bring those guys in. But with that said, the clock is now ticking a lot faster than it was last year when everybody was so captivated by K9. Everybody went to the offseason, Tuck coming and smoking cigars and in love with him. Oh, he's the swaggiest coach in college football. I mean, he might just be that. But everybody was in love and everybody was enamored. Well, you go to Washington and you lose and you don't look good at all. And then you come home and you get wiped. They mopped the floor with Michigan State. It was not good. And Maryland now is a 7.5 point favorite going into that game. There's no reason why a $10 million coach should be favored. That should be not favored to win against Maryland.
I'll tell you what he is. First of all, I think he's a very good coach.
I think so.
Second of all, he's a showboat. He's a picture. He's got the cigar. He's got the hat. He's got the good looks. He dresses well. They got all the different uniform combinations. They got Spartan dogs. They got it all. All they got to do is win now. He's coming. He's not here yet, but he's coming.
That phrase, Tuck coming. Can we have a
woodshed?
Can we have a conversation about that too? Because Tuck coming basically is a punchline now for people like me. Let me know when you get here, okay?
Yeah. I started that.
Let me know when you arrive.
Yeah.
Because you could be coming and come. You know, did you blow a tire on the way here?
Yeah.
I mean, Tuck coming. Did you run out of gas on the way here? Tuck coming. When's Tuck gonna get here? I want to ask you about that.
He looks good. He looks mean.
Good.
He looks like the guy that'll punch you in the face and blow smoke in your face and point at you.
But we beat Michigan. But
too
we
bad
beat
his team
Michigan.
can't do the same thing though. Like
Tuck
I think
coming.
Now the big thing for me, I mean,
I was gonna tease you.
All right.
I want
let's
to know
do
what
it.
you think about it next. And then we'll talk about Michigan.
Oh, because they got issues of their own.
Yeah, they do.
They're not off the hook. They won, but they're not off the hook.
We'll get to that next. But first, a message from Swiss.
There's nothing better on game day than a rockin' tailgate. But with all that fun comes responsibility as well. Host liquor liability is an important coverage when dealing with high school, college, or NFL tailgates. Let Mark from Swiss Insurance Group, let him cover you. Let them provide you with coverage. We see fights all the time at arena and all that leaves, all that madness. It's liquor liability. Guys get a little turned up. Everybody's having fun, and then, your team doesn't win. And now it's a melee in the parking lot. Now it's a melee during campgrounds. You don't want that to happen. You know how you stay protected? You get Swiss Insurance Group and let Mark protect you.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Are you looking to buy or sell your home? Whether you're a player or fan helping buy, sell, or invest, Mike Phillips is the guy for the job. In 23 years, he has been #1 in sales, investments, and property taxes. And look, man, the guy knows a thing or two, I believe, about the real estate business. So why don't you help him? Mike Phillips is the guy that you should call. If you have real estate needs, call Mike Phillips, and the number is 313-403-0011. Game on. Let Mike Phillips represent you.
Woodward Sports Network talking college football, woodwardsports.com. Plenty of great things there on that site. We invite you to check it out.
Is the woodshed on that?
Morning Woodward, Big D Energy, Ermanni and Edwards with Maz.
You notice something about Michigan State?
What's that?
Ever since Baydoun jumped on board,
oh yeah,
they haven't really been the same.
No.
They have not been the same.
And fake hype.
Is it time to retire the phrase Tuck coming? Because you're just inviting people like me to say, let me know when he gets here.
Yeah.
How long will Tuck be coming? When will he get here? How long does it take for Tuck to come?
Maybe I was trying to make an excuse on the fly, and I couldn't do it. I was like, maybe he got kidnapped. Maybe I kicked that. No, and
ducked it on the way here.
What else you got? You got the woodshed. What else do they have? They got other stuff too.
The woodshed where we just got our.
No, what's the
clocks
water?
cleaned.
What's the water one?
Right.
There's some water one that they got.
I don't know.
All right, well, you guys figure that. In all honesty, they used to talk about the Michigan Wolverines and say, look, yeah, they're 10-3, but there's a lot of empty wins. It's a lot of empty calories. But I feel the same way right now about Michigan State. If you look at it, talking about Tuck coming, well, last year, you beat Michigan. I'll give you that. Okay, you beat Michigan your first year, but both teams sucked. But you got the W, and it was at Michigan, so I give you credit for that. You got the victory on the away team for the first time playing against Michigan. Congrats on that. But since then, name a victory outside of Michigan last year that was important. You had an important situation. You went down to Purdue, a team that was not as good as you, a team you were better than, with your destiny in hand. Talk about learning how to win. They went down there. They did not win that game. Then they went to Ohio State, and they have every excuse under the sun why they lost by 70 points. Every excuse under the sun. You enter this season, and people are 14 preseason ranking, which I thought was too high. But what do I know? Then you lose to Washington in ugly form. Ugly form, you went on the road and got punished by Michael Penix Jr., the guy that punished you when he was at Indiana as well. Then you go to then Minnesota comes to you the following week. This is your redemption game. This is all right, cool. We can get back on track. We can get to where we want to be. 34 to zip while your starters in. Had to bring in the backup quarterback, Kim, who I also talked about, to finally score you a touchdown. So with that being said, he's coming where? Because if you're going to look, every time you lose to Ohio State, you're going to have an excuse like, well, you know, we block whatever you make up, or you don't think you can be in that game. That's the difference in the winning mentality. Now, I'm not going to beat up on Michigan State. Like, I get it. I didn't think they were that good going into this year.
I didn't either.
Because I thought
it's five-loss team.
Because I thought K-Now was just that much better than everybody that they were going to have. With that being said, don't go up here and go 6-6. Like, don't go up here and go 5-8. 5-7. Like, don't do that. Because now when you do that, we're like, damn, was he a one-player wonder?
And that's really what you think. Look, if they could essentially lose 6 games in a row. They've already lost 2 in a row.
Yep.
Washington, Minnesota.
Maryland.
They're a touchdown underdog at Maryland. Then they play Ohio State. They ain't losing that. They ain't winning that game.
Yeah, I was like,
so that'll be 4 straight losses.
They're home for that game, though.
Yeah, but are they beating Ohio State?
No, they'll be
okay.
They'll be a 17-point underdog. At
Okay,
home.
so you're looking at 4 in a row there. Then they play
Penn State.
home against Wisconsin.
They'll be an underdog in that game as well.
Will they be an underdog?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so they'll be
And Wisconsin actually looked decent for a little bit of that Ohio State game. Just
it's
a
at
little
Ohio
bit.
State.
So-
Throw it out.
So they'll be an underdog against Wisconsin, and then they play Michigan. You could essentially be staring 2-6 in the face.
You're right.
If you're Michigan State.
Dang.
And at that point, you ain't paying no coach $10 million, $9.5 million for 2-6. I don't care. Not in year 3, not in year 1, not in year 10, not in year 0. And that doesn't even make sense. But you're not paying a coach $9.5 million to be staring 2-6 in the face.
I just wish that they would have done something in terms of looking at Peyton Thorne a little bit more, a little bit better in preseason, in training camp, in OTAs, and looking at that, because this isn't something new, him not being able to hit receivers, him getting a little interception happy. Like, he did that a little bit last year as well. He did it the year before as well. So Kim seems like a guy, like the 2 times I've seen Kim, he's come in, he's led drives down the field, he's moved the ball very fluidly, and then he's ended resulting in touchdowns. So if I'm Mel Tucker going against Maryland this week, I am seriously considering not starting Kim. I won't start him, but I'll be considered being ready to take Kim in the start of the second half if Peyton Thorne can't get it on, because you need a change to spark something in this team, to get this team rolling. You need something, and Peyton Thorne, my friend, is a thorn in your ass right now.
I want to ask you about Michigan, Bray. Look, it was not their best game. It was a win.
It was their first game.
I will say
this was the season opener.
I wanted them to stop the
the last touchdown by Maryland.
Oh my gosh, the last touchdown. Braylon said on Friday, Michigan's going to win by 15.
Yep.
They had a 15-point lead, and that last touchdown screwed it. But I'm trying to get to my note on this game. This game, it was just the epitome to me. There's some things to get corrected, but I'm not going to freak out over this game. I do think JJ will hit some of those deep balls that he missed. I believe that. I think there's some things to get corrected. They'll get corrected.
But his march for the Heisman has been halted.
Well, look, this Heisman thing, you can have fun. I said before he was the starter, I would take a flyer on him as a Heisman winner because I do think they're going to be 12-0. I do. And I think the best player on the Michigan team, it might be Blake Corum, but I think the best player on the 12-0 Michigan team will be in New York.
Yeah.
Is that JJ? I don't think anybody had Aiden Hutchinson after week 3 or week 4 in New York either. There's a lot of season to be played.
Get him, Ryan.
So I wouldn't worry about this. Oh, I don't think you don't win a Heisman in September, please. Okay,
Exactly. Relax, pal.
Well, screw you, Tom. Screw you.
That's what I'm talking about.
Georgia beat Kent State by 17. Clemson won in double OT.
Hey, can we talk about Sam Hartman?
Who?
Sam Hartman, quarterback for Wake Forest.
What about him?
That dude's a problem.
You like him?
First of all, Wake Forest won the ACC last year. Nobody talks about that.
Right. But what I'm saying is, number 1 only won by 17 to a MAC school. Number 5 won in double overtime. Number 6 lost. Number 7 won by 3. Number 8 beat a MAC school by 8 points. And number 10 lost. It was one of those weeks in college football. It just was.
Yeah.
Michigan got a win. Move on to Iowa.
I agree. And first and foremost, one of the big things is Josh Gaddis is being missed around there. You can say what you want to. Josh Gaddis' offense is being missed. Because remember, it took him 3 years to really get that offense to where it was last year. Now they had Hassan Haskins. He had a different style of play. But I just want to give him some love. When you got 2 offensive coordinators, and I was listening. This came from Joe Klett. I got this from Joe Klett, Fox 2. Fox, excuse me. Joe Klett said he interviewed Sharon Moore, and I can't think of the assistant.
Weiss?
He's killing me. Weiss.
Matt Weiss.
Said he interviewed both of them. And he's having a conversation. This is when they do their notes for the week. When they do the notes for the game, when he called the game with Brady Quinn. He said, who's got veto power? He said, who's offensive coordinator? Well, we're both offensive coordinator. Nah, but who's the main coordinator? Well, both of us. Okay, well, let me explain it like this. Who has veto power? Who, if a play goes in, who's the one that can be like, nah, we ain't running that? Oh, well, Harbaugh. So neither one of you are the coordinators then. They got to figure out that coordinator situation. Neither one of them have been coordinators before. I was a little iffy on that situation. They got to figure that out. Because forever how good J.J. McCarthy is, if their offensive coordinators can't figure it out, then neither can he. Now, what he has to do, he's got to take a little bit of what he sees. I think right now JJ's trying to get the ball down the field, trying to do the things that will get you in New York, to get you on ESPN, to get you talked about, to get you drafted. But you know what else gets you drafted? Taking what the team gives you. Taking what you see on the field. That's what they're going to have to do. They talked about it last week when they scored, it was a big post route that they hit. JJ hits the big post down the field. Mm-hmm. Well, Ronnie Bell was wide open on the dig route. Now you're starting to see more of that where guys are wide open and he's trying to make other plays. He will settle in, but they got to fix that freaking offensive coordinator situation because Joe Clay hit the nail on the head. Which one of you guys got veto power? And neither one of them can say anything. They got to get that fixed.
Yeah, one of the things, too, is I think if J.J. hits Roman Wilson 1 or 2 of the 3 times he overthrows him, we're probably talking much differently today. That is something that you got to get. We are going to get back to the NFL. We'll have a day of college tomorrow. We'll focus more on college tomorrow. We'll get back to the NFL next. But first, a message from SMA.
SMA, the sports marketing agency, does an amazing job of having the conversations around mental health as well as addiction. So many people have concerns, so many people have questions, but they don't know where to get conversations. They don't know where to get the materials. Rashawn Jordan does an excellent job, and you can go to thesportsma.com. People die all the time, and people don't deal with it. They don't process it right. You get fired from a job, and you don't process it. You don't talk to anybody, and it leads to depression. It leads to anxiety. These are things that are natural in the world, but guess what? You know, also natural, just getting the help, having the conversation so you can be the best version of yourself for your family. Go to thesportsma.com.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
At Big Frog.
Big Frog.
Get yourself a free Woodward Sports t-shirt. That's right, a free Woodward Sports t-shirt all month long at Big Frog in Novi. Just stop in, tell them we sent you, and they will print you up one right on the spot. So go to Big Frog Novi today and get your free Woodward Sports t-shirt, or visit them online at bigfrog.com/Novi.
Woodward Sports Network, Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazawey, Fletch, and JB in the house. Back to the NFL Roundtable we go. Tom Mazawey.
Hey, Monday Night Football tonight. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and the gang. They can't wait for it at the Meadowlands. Shut up, guys. It's the G-Men and the Dallas Cowboys. The Giants favored by 1 in this game. It was 3. It's now 1. When do you get the Cowboys
over under 10
as an
plays
underdog?
for Kenny Galladay tonight?
Oh, under. I told you about that dude last year, man. $20 million for that guy. Oh my God. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how this game plays out, because although the Giants are somehow undefeated, they don't look like anything special. Saquon Barkley is probably the only bright spot that they have on that team. So it's going to be interesting to see, because I'm going to go with Dallas this game only for one reason: Micah Parsons. I'm going with Dallas for Micah Parsons. I think Micah Parsons, because that offensive line of the Giants has not been good for about the last 10, 15 years. Going with them, and my boy C.D. Lamb's going to give me 40 points.
Giants are in their throwback whites tonight with the giant helmet.
Ooh.
And they're going to be back in their Super Bowl uniforms.
1988,
86, and 90.
90.
Against the Bills.
Look at that.
I would say Saquon got hurt the last time they wore these.
Oh, don't say that.
We should retire them.
Please.
My bad.
Hey, yesterday in that Dolphin game,
my bad, JB.
Tua got the 8 count.
Yeah.
Tua Tagovailoa got the 8 count. He was kind of knocked a little woozy on his own goal line, got up, and stayed in the game. The NFLPA investigating. How did he stay in the game?
Yeah, there's going to be, and Fletch, shout out to you for asking a question before we started the show, saying that will there be some ramifications? There probably will be some negligence involved, only because the NFL has done a good job since the movie Concussion has come out. We're taking things serious. You see the safety helmets that they wore during training camp this year. They prevented, so far, they said, concussions have gone down 61% since training camp, them administering that. So they've done some good things, but you can't get complacent in situations like this because you have been doing good work. You got to stay on it. And staying on it means holding them accountable and charging them some type of fine because, as you said, Fletch, he was knocked out. It reminds me of the Shane Morris situation at Michigan when Shane Morris was a quarterback for the University of Michigan. They were playing against Minnesota and Brady didn't wear his headset. Yep. And we saw, I was literally right there on the 27-yard line next to John Jansen, and he got hit, and you could see he was out of it. They chose to leave him in there, and in the very next play, he got whacked again and ended up transferring. So I think you got to hold them accountable so that other organizations see, you know what, even though we need to win, even though we want to beat the Bills, even though it's a playoff implications game, it's still about the health of the players. So I think you do have to find them.
Mac Jones was injured yesterday, high ankle sprain. It's worse than that. Probably going to miss the Lions game. Chargers, Rashawn Slater, I told you about him. He is out for the year as well. Dan Orlovsky's off the hook. He ran out of the end zone yesterday. We gave you a quick snippet of that. And R.I.P., rest in peace, to the Pro Bowl as we know it. The Pro Bowl is now the Pro Bowl Games. It will be on February the 5th, 2023. The week before the Super Bowl, And it's going to be all kinds of stuff. Flag football. Who knows? Tug of war. Whatever they're going to do, that's what they're going to do with the old Pro Bowl. Now, I hope one day it comes back and the way it's supposed to have been played. But right now, it's better resting in peace than what I saw last year.
Last year. As a person that played in this historic game, the Pro Bowl, as a person that's been there and done it, I love the game, but I understand it. Nobody pays attention to the Pro Bowl. It used to be after the season was over. Once the season culminates in the Super Bowl, nobody paying attention to the Pro Bowl.
I did.
Especially, well, Maz, and I appreciate you for that. You're a super fan. You love the game. That's why I love you. But the majority of individuals, once the culmination happened, it's done. The reason why other leagues do better, NBA, halfway point. Major League, NHL, halfway point. MLB, the best to do it. The best game, at least, the halfway point. So when they try to do it before the Super Bowl, you still don't have people paying attention. Because, guys, once you get into playoff mode, nobody's thinking about the Pro Bowl or an all-star game. So this was coming a very long time. You got one league where they will never be able to play a game during the middle of the season. So, it had to go this route.
Absolutely.
That's too bad.
I got to say something about Mac Jones. We say this a lot as it relates to football and many other sports, too. It's not when you get picked, it's where you get picked. And I got to be honest with you. To be picked and be placed in a Matt Patricia-led offense.
Well, he didn't know that.
Is not a good place to be. He has regressed greatly under Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. And quite honestly, I do think you have to look at Bill Belichick and say, what has this guy done without Tom Brady? Since Tom Brady, he's not making water into wine, I'll tell you that.
No, he's not.
One thing that I've always thought about as it relates to Alabama quarterbacks, now I'll phrase this a certain way. The Alabama quarterbacks that are traditional, just pocket-style passers, because I'm not saying black or white, like Tua and Jalen Hurts, they get outside the pocket. They play on the run. They're mobile quarterbacks. So they're dual threat quarterbacks. But if you look at the history of Alabama, regular, traditional, pro-style offensive quarterbacks, whether it's Mac Jones, whether it's A.J. McCarron, whether it's Greg McElroy, none of those guys were wildest in college. We just knew that they were playing with the best freaking players in college football. But we knew on the next level they were going to be backups or they'd be on TV. Greg McElroy, A.J. McCarron. Mac Jones was the same thing for me. So when they drafted him last year, the best thing he had going for him is Josh McDaniels was the offensive coordinator of the New England Patriots and his head coach was Bill Belichick. Well, Josh McDaniels isn't there anymore. And Matt Patricia is his coach. So now he's looking exactly like I thought he would look, and even worse, because he don't have nobody to talk to.
Hey, speaking of Josh McDaniels, another Patriots cast-off. Or not cast-off, but another Bill Belichick tree guy.
Disciple.
This is the guy. This is the year. This is the right time.
His second go-round.
The only team in the NFL to be 0-3 is Josh McDaniels and the Las Vegas Raiders.
Mark Davis had a talk with him already, a meeting with him already.
Is it him or...
They lost 3 close games. Really close.
Thank you. And that's what I was going. The first one was against the Los Angeles Chargers, who we believe to be the heir apparent in Herbert. That went out the window real fast. But that was a good loss. The next week, there's an epic collapse against the Arizona Cardinals.
The biggest Raider blown lead ever.
Yep. And then obviously this past week. But when is it time to look at Derek Carr? Derek Carr makes a lot of money and has for a very long time. And his stats, he's a walking 4,000-yard game, but guess who else is? Is Derek Carr the AFC version of Kirk Cousins? Because Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr do the same thing.
That's a great analogy.
Here's 4,400. Here's 30 touchdowns. Oh, the playoffs? No, I ain't got none of that for you.
That's a great analogy. I do want to touch on the Detroit Pistons Media Day today. Ooh. Opening night. 23 days from today.
October 14th, right?
You kidding me?
The Magic.
Look at that. We'll get to some Detroit Pistons news We'll do it next. But first, a message from the Folding Warehouse.
You know who loves the Folding Warehouse? The Pistons. They love the Folding Warehouse. Everyone does in Hamtramck. Get on down there.
I know the champs do.
Couple ways to play. I know you guys did. Yeah, you got that bye in the first round. That's why.
Here you go.
Couple ways to play that game. $12 unlimited open play. And, of course, your own private lane reservation. 2 hours, $120. But 10 or 12 people could fit on a lane. Any drink you want, because they've got it. They've got multiple full bars, over 100 beers to offer, and the $2 mystery beer machine. Feel free to bring your own food in
baby.
or have it delivered. It's all yours at the Folding Warehouse. Check them out at foldingwarehouse.com.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron. Here we go. Got to grab the cranberry. Oh, wait. It's 2 for $4. Got to double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Kroger's, and if you want to know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
For a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. It's not a Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a tease. Guess what else is new? The bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries. What will it be? Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Hey, in case you didn't know, Planet Fitness is the official studio sponsor of Woodward Sports. It's also home to the Judgment Free Zone, where you can work out for just $10 a month. Or do yourself a favor and upgrade to the Black Card for unlimited guest privileges, hydro massage, and so much more. Join in club today or check out planetfitness.com.
Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. Pistons Media Day is today. I do want to give them a little bit of credit, a little bit of conversation, put a little talk behind their name here, the Detroit Pistons. It's going to be a much improved team, but one of the things that Troy Weaver said today, Pistons general manager, at the media day, is you have to learn how to compete before you can learn how to contend. This year, we hope to learn how to compete. And I thought that was a really interesting soundbite. And I kind of, as I read it, kind of applied it to the Detroit Lions a little bit too. You gotta walk before you can crawl, and you're in the walking stage. But this Pistons team, I think, for the most part, is going to be much improved. By the way, Cade Cunningham put on 15 pounds this year, beefing up for the NBA season.
Yeah, he's a tall, lanky guy. He's going to go to the hole a lot more this often and take those easy free throws. So you want to be able to bang with the big guys. The East is a tough place. The East is a good. I mean, you look at the defensive teams in the East. Miami will beat you up. The Celtics will beat you up. These teams will beat you. Atlanta is starting to get physical. You see what they added, Jonte Murray. So you want to put on weights. It's interesting that you say that, though. That is a good comparison. But I would think the competitive phase for the Detroit Lions was last year. Last year they started learning how to compete. This year is where Detroit Lions got to learn how to win. And I think that's what we're talking about, learning how to win. Pistons have a good young nucleus. They add Bojan Bogdanovic, so now you add him. Huge. From the experience point of view, an experienced veteran, a guy that knows how to score, a guy that knows how to shoot free throws, a guy that knows the playoff vibe. But you still got to develop those young guys. They're excited about this young core. You see, they took the option on Killian Hayes. They take the option on Beef Stew, and they take the option on Sadiq Bey. They brought all three of these guys back. So you hope that, working with Jalen Duran, some guys like that, Jaden Ivey, implements well for this upcoming season. It's going to be a fun one. They're going to be an exciting team, but 35 wins is what you should expect.
You got anything on the Pistons there, Maz? You like the Pistons this year?
Well, I always loved them. I love watching them. It's my favorite game to actually go and sit down and enjoy. And I'm looking forward to going and watching these guys compete and grow. They're in a tough league, man. The East is the beast now. it's going to be very hard for them to compete in that league and in that division. They open up with the Magic and your guy, Paolo Banchero, against our guy.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Jaden Ivey.
Yeah, we'll see how the Ivy experiment works. Hopefully they got the right guy, and Sacramento did him a favor.
Yeah, I like it. The thing I was going to bring up is, we keep talking about Dwayne Casey. How long will Dwayne Casey be the coach? He's the second oldest coach in the NBA, only behind Greg Popovich. Yeah, only behind Pop. I think he's 66, I do believe. 64. But he's only second behind Pop. When do you bring in Chauncey Billups? That's what I'm waiting on. Chauncey Billups is the move. I think Chauncey.
It's his birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
And Cade's birthday.
Oh, that's right. They're the same day.
Yeah.
So, obviously he struggled last year as a first-year coach. He struggled. But how long does Dwayne Casey hold out before moving to the front office and you bring Big Shot Billups in to save your team? I'm just throwing that out there.
One of the things to get behind the Detroit Pistons for this year, too, is it looks like these are the guys, right? I mean, when they compete, I think so many of us expect Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham to be a big part of that, Sadiq Bey to be a big part of that, Marvin Bagley to be a big part of it, Jalen Duren to be a big part of that, Isaiah Livers to be a big part of that. The only reason maybe now it won't happen is because they're so stinking young. Yeah. So you get to get in pretty much on the ground floor now and watch these guys grow and compete together. And each and every year, the hope is that they raise their level of play, that they grow together as a team, that they become one of the really best young teams in the NBA, a la the Memphis Grizzlies. What Memphis has done, what the Boston Celtics have done with these guys. I don't think there's any reason why Detroit can't emulate those two franchises in Boston and Memphis with their young talent, because those two teams have built through the draft, something we have seen Troy Weaver do. And again, you're hoping Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, these guys become what you expect them to become.
One of the big things, too, though, I want to find out, and obviously Bojan Bogdanovic, he's a guy that can shoot. He's a guy that's shot 40% career from three-point from clip. That was one thing they really need, is a guy that can shoot. Because that's one of the largest question marks that you have for the Detroit Pistons last year. Who's shooting the three? Yeah, you can tell me that Sadiq Bey broke Allen Houston's record, but you also can tell me Sadiq Bey can go 1 from 10, and then the very next night goes 0 for 11, and then the very next night goes 7 of 13, and then the very next night not make a 3 in 14 attempts. So it's very inconsistent. Teams that win, you got to be able to shoot that 3 ball. Memphis, Desmond Bane can shoot the 3 ball. Whether it was the Warriors when they were young guys, we don't even have to talk about how good they are shooting the 3 ball. The Lakers struggled last year. What was one of the Lakers' biggest things? Nobody can shoot the 3 ball on that team. You got to be able to shoot the 3 ball, and I think Bojan Bogdanovic, but they got to have somebody else develop some consistency. Now, I hope it's Sadiq Bey, and I hope that's what he's worked on in the offseason, but you got to be able to shoot the 3 ball in 2022 in the NBA.
Did want to acknowledge 700 by Albert Pujols, too.
Wow.
And did you see the host on MLB Network? I forget the guy's name.
Greg Amsinger?
Yeah. What's his name?
Greg Amsinger.
He said that Albert Pujols would hit number 700 on a Saturday night in L.A. in April.
Oh, wow.
He said that.
Nice.
You want to talk about a guy that nailed it. Wow, Albert Pujols.
Look at that club he's in.
700 home runs. Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds.
No, but put that tweet back up.
Hank Aaron.
He's only one of 2 with
Look
700 home runs.
700, 3,000 hits. It's just him and Henry. That's it.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
That's something.
It's so crazy. You look at a lot of these guys that are over, like the 500 mark or the 600 mark at least, and then you're like, man, they don't have a lot of hits to go with it. They're either hitting home runs or striking out. You look at Barry. Barry's not in that ballpark. They just wouldn't pitch him the ball.
It's amazing. And Aaron Judge, let's face it, the Red Sox didn't want to pitch to him the whole series. They gave him
didn't want to be the team.
They didn't want to be the team. Congratulations, by the way, Red Sox. You were eliminated from the playoffs last night. Take a walk, take a hike, take whatever. Do what you want. Yankees are in the playoffs. He's in Toronto tonight. He hit 61 tonight. I'm calling it right now at Sky Dome. Just like Miggy Cabrera hit his. Miggy Cabrera hit his 500th. Judge hits his 61st tonight.
Just to put 700 in perspective, though, and I know I mentioned this before, but 700, Miguel Cabrera has 506.
And
he's like
hit a lot of
40
home
years
runs.
old. He's
Isn't
40
that
years
something?
old. 200 home runs more than Miguel Cabrera.
And you would never put his name
No.
in the top 20
No.
baseball players.
Mike Trout, 347.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
He's not even going to get close.
He's not even halfway.
Yeah, that's right.
Not
And
even halfway to Pujols.
He's going to break down. There's no way.
He's missed a ton of games in his career. He should be a lot further than that. The interesting thing about it, it's not even that all of that is interesting. The 700 is an achievement that I can't even sit up here and quantify and really tell you how dope that achievement is. The interesting thing is, right, he only had 6 home runs going into All-Star break.
Yeah.
He's got 15 home runs since All-Star break
Crazy,
at 43
man.
years old.
It
I want
is
to know what he's
incredible.
drinking in the morning. I might need to try some of that.
That's right. All right, gang, hell of a day. Go Lions. Enjoy Monday Night Football tonight. Bray, get us out of here.
Hey, go see the heavyweights.
Hey, go see the heavyweights at the Coliseum. They are rocking and rolling. 5-2-7. Get you ready for Monday Night Football. I hope CeeDee Lamb can give me some points because nobody else on the roster is doing it. Tomorrow we'll be heavy on Michigan State as Michigan talk about some college and then break down this game. But it's a hell of a way to start the week, man. Guess what, Lions fans? Don't be in such despair. It is okay. The ship will get resurrected and get back in the right direction. But right now, just shed a tear or two and then get moving this work week. For my man Fletch to the right, JB over there, Maz on the couch, and my brother from another mother to the left. We are Ermanni and Edwards with Maz.
Hey now.
Bye.
For me, I freaking regret my decision there at the end. I should have gone for it, fourth down, and told the team that I should have gone for it. So